Um, I'm here again casting this deck. So, Xnick streaming for you. I hope you are enjoying so far. So, this time we're going to visit again the Steel and Emerge deck. I've been trying to fit a little bit of the deck. I added all the copies of Killing Time that we have that proved to be quite important in the deck, and also a couple of copies of Think in the Eyes that can be transformed into the Awoken Horror, but the transformation requires us to cast 4 instants or sorceries after the Think in the Eyes is in play. I don't know if we are going to get there, but well, maybe we have enough stuff to do so. And one important aspect of the transformation is that besides getting a 7/8, you get to return all non-horror creatures to their owner's hand, and that can clean the way to attack. Also, another addition is Favorite Visions. So we get to draw on every turn. This is a two-edged sword because we also make the opponent draw cards, but if the opponent has 4 cards or more in their hand, they are going to take damage. So this card unanswered can kill the opponent, but also gives him elements to counter us and kill us faster. So we have to be very careful with this. But oftentimes it is very good for us to have this in play. 2 copies of Impetuous Devils. Previously we had just one, but I think this is very strong in our deck, especially because we have to sacrifice the devils by the end of our turn, but we want to use the mana that we spent on them on the Wretched Rifts. And finally, I think I overlooked that we actually have one single activator for the Madness of Welcome to the Fold that happens to be Jace, but the chance of that happening is quite low, but well, it's still there. Also, the mana has been tweaked a little bit. We have now 2 copies of Rogue's Passage, mainly because the colorless lets us activate some of the abilities, less copies of Looming Spire and Skyline Cascade, 3 Evolving Wilds and 1 Warped Landscape. The reason to have this is just because if the talent time happens to fail us, we would like to shuffle the library, so we have an option there. So let's go ahead and try to see how this time goes. And last time we were doing better than I first expected, but we still got some losses, but mainly because our mana was not showing up on time. So let's see if we can solve that. Let's hope that Favorite Visions help us get more cards, therefore we get more lands, therefore we can play more stuff. So let's see if that works out. So let's see, this doesn't look like a very interesting match on first sight. Let's keep this hand. Our opponent is playing with more than 60 cards. No, this might be either too easy or too difficult. We start up with Favorite Visions, Telling Time. This is a very impactful hand. Now I think it is safe to start with Wandering Fumarole. That means that next turn we can play any 2-drop that we have, but all our 2-drops are blue, so at the end is not that relevant. And let's see, so this is 2 tapped lands. Maybe the opponent has Thalia there, but I would like to cast Telling Time this turn, so I'm going to go with the Mantine and use Telling Time right away. And if we do not like what we get with Telling Time, we can use the Evolving Wilds after that. And also we have the option to play Favorite Visions. So pretty scary, aggressive start from the opponent with blue and white, and this human with vigilance. So this goes into our hand, and I think that one female relay is good enough, so let's get a mountain for us. There we go. And now we go ahead with fevered visions. So I think that this is going to start damaging the opponent. He can remove enchantments with white, but blue and white is not that often. Maybe this is a Temillo deck, and also we are going to be seeing green. Instead is red, blue and white. Too many colors for my liking, because this creature kind of points into something very strange that's going on. So let's see. We get the Obligator. We can steal a creature with this, but we have to get to 5 land, and we are not quite there yet. We can send this into combat for 4, thanks to the Looming Spires. I think damaging the opponent is going to be good, just good, because the fevered visions is going to be applying more pressure. So let's see if the opponent wants to block. If the opponent just blocks, he loses his creature. He might destroy on attack the Eldrazi Obligator, but he decided to take the damage and save his creature. That we have the information that the opponent probably does not have a 2 mana removal for an attacker, so we have to take that into account. So our enchantment goes away and the opponent recovers some life, but we got some cards out of it. Nothing to be too worried about. So we can now tap this human. Let's see that we can leave 2 mana up, and Wretch of Grief is going to be costing, if we discount the Frostlings, this costs 3, so still not enough to get the Wretch of Grief out of the links. And this one is better on the offense than in the defense. So this turn we just go ahead and attack for extra damage. There we go. Opponent goes to 15. This one got tapped by the links and won't untap in next turn. So now we are going to find ourselves, I think, an island. It's not bad. There we go. And if the opponent plays small creature, we can steal that one with Welcome to the Fold, and otherwise we can play the Grief under or something. So green, the only color the opponent has not played is black. This might be a Converge deck, or perhaps Planeswalker deck. There is the risk of a planar outburst. So support, all of them got a counter. Now the Dauntless River Marshal can tap our creatures. So this is interesting because we can get for a lot of damage this turn. We can hit the opponent for 8, but we are left without defense for the next turn. But if the opponent attacks us, then well, this one has vigilance. What to do? I think pushing for extra damage is going to be which is good. Now, a secondary winning condition for our deck is to get a lot of haste creatures, such as these two, so we get in for surprise damage very fast. So this time is 8, the opponent is going to be at 7, and since this is 4, that lets us play the Grief for just 2 more, but I think it's not the time to do so, because if the opponent runs Planar Outburst, we lose all, and we might get it to the 7 to cast this one. Also, Wandering Fumarole is an option too. So let's see, the opponent might attack with the top-hand free blade, because this one has vigilance, and Dauntless River Marshal can tap our creatures for now this one. He lets the opponent exile something, and he got our Obligator. Good. Now offers the Striker. We go to 9 after this attack. If we somehow kill the top-hand free blade, we recover the Eldrazi Obligator. So I think that we can do just that by stealing this guy. So let's Warped Landscape. We are going to we want to leave the blue for the Richard Grief. Very nice. Why? I think something strange happened here. This is very weird. I don't know what happened there, but alright. I think we are going to steal this guy. Something strange, unexpected for me happened. I will have to review the play to see what happened there, because I don't see a reason for this to go to the graveyard. And well, we do not got to emerge, but it was an option. I was going to emerge after combat, so we sacrificed the top-hand free blade, but something quite strange occurred there. Maybe the ruling of the well, still is not. I mean, we gain control of the opponent creature, so the our creature was exiled by the effect of the aura. I think that that's a bug from the game, but I have to review if that was supposed to happen. But well, let's move forward and see what is in store for us in the next game. That game was not looking so good at the beginning, but by the end we got pretty nice cards and we got the mana that we liked, and I think all of that was because of Favorite Visions, so I'm very happy to have that with us. So next match is about to start, apparently. There we go. Let's see. Now maybe a more interesting match. Maybe we are going to lose, but still the opponent running above the minimum card size deck. I think we need a. This has nice lands, but mm, now double telling time. I think this is keepable. Let's make sure that we can play the telling time next turn, so we can use the telling time to find the lands to get into our late game. These two not too thrilling to get, but telling time is going to make us find something more useful. So let's go ahead and pass opponent on green. And if you see green on an oversized deck, it's probably going to be running a lot of ramping spells, I assume, but it's not sure. It's not a certainty, but it's quite possible. By the way, sorry guys for my English, but I'm still learning. I hope, come on, I hope that you can understand what I try to say. Fevered Visions, of course, to our hand, and another. I think that we are lacking the colors to play Fevered Visions, therefore, all right. Let's keep the Rogue's Passage just in case. So this turn is our second telling time. Let's drop the Wandering Fumarole. Complicated to pronounce this one. I could in Spanish that would read Fumarole, but I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that in English. So next turn we can drop Fevered Visions, we can telling time end of turn. Inoc Guide, one of the most awful replacement for the Gate Creeper Bind that you can possibly want. So now we know that the opponent has a mountain on top of the library, and I don't think that is going to help him too much. So let's go with the Willbreaker first and the Deep Find next. So we are still not going to be able to cast this, but we cannot try in picture, but I think Fevered Visions is better this time. The downside of Fevered Visions is that the opponent is going to get all the cards that he wants and probably has plenty of huge creatures running inside here. But the upper side is that we can steal the majority of these creatures. Let's see what the opponent chooses to do. Grove Rambler, very good. Now if we get a land, we can drop the Willbreaker or the Duels. We have this for. We have second Fevered Visions. I think we risk taking a lot of damage out of the Grove Rambler, but in turn we are going to be dealing 4 to our opponent and draw 2. We are going to have to discard something. And what do we discard? I think Tenthralim Victor is what we should discard here. Not quite sure. All of those are so tempting. Perhaps Sleep Through Space. No. Let's get rid of the Tenthralim Victor. No, what? Time ran out and we lost the Impetuous Devils. Too undecisive from my part. I think we are still good, but I couldn't make up my mind into which one of these two to drop. and certainly this one I would love to have kept. Now we get hit for 6 this turn. This one is 4. That means we can get the Eldeptic Fiend for just 3. Therefore, we have 5. It's not going to be enough yet. So, what to do? Let's take away the Inoc Guide this turn. Let's see. Let's proceed to attack. At the very least, we have a blocker. Maybe if the opponent is not running something to kill the opponent. Now, what are we going to throw away? I think the Sulfur Falls can go away. I think the Warped Landscape was also an option. So next turn we still drop Rambler, we play Warped Landscape, we attack, and then the Elder Deep Fiend. Now is the opponent going to attack with the Island Guide? Probably he would not going to do so. So question, do we go into 5 less? I think we're going to skip blocking. Worst case scenario, the opponent has fog in his hand or her hand. Now he draws 2, he's going to have to discard. So, excuse me, can I borrow the Grow Rambler? Thank you very much. Now, let's pump up this one and proceed. Oh no, I'm missing what I'm. Another blue. Big mistake. That was a mistake. I do not have double blue to use the Deep Fiend. So dumb. Oh shit. So this guy has trample, do you see? So you still get damage, dear friend. Now let's play with this. So we have some blocker, and now if the opponent has something to cast lots of lands, we are going to be killed because I failed to take into account the double blue requirements for the Deep Fiend. So Nisa's Renewal is going to kill us, or even, yeah, that's it. So we can prevent 5 with these 2. The opponent has 4 plus here this guy is getting 9. This is very painful. But the opponent is at 5. If we somehow survive, we could kill the opponent. So if we block 5 from here, nope, the opponent has exactly 8 damage whatever we do to block here. So this was a very sad loss for us. We could have won there just because I chose to discard these guys. Come on. So very frustrating, but still I think we lose by a tiny mistake that grew up and piled up on delay a couple of turns after. So we have to be ready to discard quickly and try to make our mind faster. Now let's see if we can surmount those difficulties. Now, against what appears to be a vampire deck, but perhaps it has some green in there. Let's see what happens now. No lands, 2 lands, and no play. The opponent is already at 6. Now we have the lands, and at least we could think into playing this one later. So let's drop one evolving white. We are going to get the islands for telling time, but I think there is no harm into delaying. But no. Black and red vampires. I'm putting my money on vampire deck. So let's see. No plays yet. Let's go with another bottom wilds, and this time, well, the telling time is going to help us getting our nice lands. Let's hope. Since we have red already, maybe a second blue might do it. Inspires. So I think the opponent has a turn 3 play. So the opponent is going to drop the extension masquerade next turn, but there's not much that we can do about that. So hop here, enjoy +1/+1 and first strike. Perhaps playing telling time before might have gotten us something, but for 1 mana I do not want to play anything. Now the opponent is going to drop a land. No, that was Carl Thrower. So maybe the opponent is mana screwed. See, playing this one before combat, quite strange. So no lands, that's going to give us some time. So let's go with Purebred Visions and the Skyline Cascade. So since the opponent appears to be mana screwed, we are going to delay the Purebred Visions a little bit. And now we drop the Hunger Garrison. The aristocrat can sacrifice himself to make this one tougher, so these two would trade. Another Long Spires. The opponent is getting closer to play a 3 drop or 4 drop. Let's see if the opponent is willing to attack. Probably not, because this can stop the Hungary garrison. Instead, the opponent chose to play a creature. Quite interesting turn of events here. I think the opponent is misplaying here, because he has to stop the Hungary garrison somehow. So let's go ahead with this. The Malakir Coldblade is going to hinder our plans, because if we start sacrificing our creatures, this guy grows. So we have to be careful about that. We might end up stealing the Malakir Coldblade, but so far there's no many good cards to use. Let's see if this ends up binding up. This is maybe going to help the opponent, maybe going to help us. Stensia Masquerade. So kind of late, but still very problematic for us. So best case scenario, we get to steal something, but the opponent wants to raise us, but he's going to be receiving 2 extra out of the Favorite Visions. This is going to pile up 3 extra damage on each attack. So we could flash this guy, losing our garrison. That could buy us some thumbs, but I don't know if that's so good. We can recover Telling Time from the graveyard. Let's see if we can find something to steal. So yes, we have double stealers here. Now we have not the colorless, so let's keep the Willbreaker and the Willbreaker. So the opponent can get us for 8. I'm going to attack with everything, so this is 6. The opponent is going to take 2 out of the Favorite Visions, and perhaps we get to steal something. Now the opponent gains 2 out of the Aristocrat. The most problematic thing is what he plays out of 4 lands. No, out of 3. He might have something very painful, such as a Twin Bolt that makes this 2 more bigger. So 4, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Well, this is not going to be attacking. Three and more counters over there. So unless we can somehow steal something, we should leave our mana open to flash the Fiend. So now stealing is going to happen. So this is able to tap up to 4 target permanents. That includes lands. That is quite interesting. I didn't read quite properly this one, because we can tap lands with the Deep Fiend. Very useful. So let's go ahead and attack with the garrison here. Now we probably are going to make a dent with 3 points of damage out of 2 of our cards. Our opponent probably is going to block just a token, so his Malakir Goblet grows. Now we are going to be drawing something that happens to be another land, could help us later on, so we have to be very careful. So let's see. If we survive, I think that we win. The opponent gives haste to that one. Now we are going to pause. And we are going to defend, emerge, this one. Okay. And I was thinking into not tapping this guy, but since this can make this one bigger, we risk ourselves into losing. Quite horrible. So now we tap all his guys, except the Sanitarium Skeleton. Now if we somehow can steal the skeleton or this other guy, we could win, but it's very close. So this could steal something, but much later. So what to do here? If we attack with this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are too many attackers for us. So, but other option is to make this one unblockable, but it's not going to give us enough time. But we need the Thopters to block the Oblivious, Bloodsworn. Let's think 5, 6, 7, 8. But he can block. We can get for 6 damage. Now, what can we do after that? No, I think we have to keep our blockers into defense mode and trust into the power of the favorite visions, and let's hope the opponent is not running something too powerful. So he can sacrifice the skeleton, making all his vampires quite large, plus the Stensia Masquerade gives them first strike, so our creatures are not going to be able to survive, and the opponent gets to lifelink out of the aristocrat. So let's see what he's choosing to do. So we mitigate the lifelink with the favorite visions, but not so much. So we are lacking. Well, if we use Willbreaker, we can start stealing guys with Will Rogue. But for that to happen, we have to make these 2 guys survive here. Now, so worst case scenario, we have to block everything here. So this is going to block this guy, and there. um, this and this. We are left with the one flyer. This one is going to start sacrificing something, I imagine. If he does not want to die itself, he has to sacrifice something else. So the attack phase happens. What Not sure if the opponent is giving up because, well, next turn this guy is hyper huge. So pretty depending on what we draw here, an act of treason would be very nice. So again, Wheeler Rogue for the 4, we have 3. Still not there. We can get quite a discount with this, but the Wheeler Rogue has to be, well, this Disruptor must block this guy. So let's try to attack. Good. Now what? Let's play the Wheeler Rogue first. So we have three blockers. And one of these. We recover one telling time. It's not that useful now. Not just well, we have it on our hand. And let's hope to get some other land so we can do something useful with the wheel breakers. Now what? Now what? We have 5 blockers, the opponent has 4 attackers. He lost his lifelink. That's good. He can bring Sanitarium Skeleton from the graveyard. The Masquerade is going to keep applying pressure to us. He might be using something to deal direct damage, and we are just going to lose out of an Exquisite Firecraft, for instance. Let's see. Very interesting board. Another Malakir Coldblade. Pretty annoying, I should say. If we steal this, this can give haste to other vampires. So 4, 9. We have 3, 6, 7, 8. 3. We have 8, which we need 9 to do this combo here. Another massive attack. So can we afford to block? I think we just get like this. Well, still hanging up. The favorite visions now is doing more harm than good, because that leaves is leaving. I mean, that lets the opponent find more cards, but at least we know that he cannot play too much for one single red or black, hopefully. Alright, Act of Treasons. Yes, this is 2. So, Act of Treason, this guy, then Vexing Scuttler. We can Act of Treason another time. So let's calculate. This is 3. So, no, not enough mana. So, Will Breaker it is. Right. Off we go. But on the other hand, I think I should have taken the flyer here. But anyways, let's try to attack and lose the game, because the flyer alone could kill us anyways. So here, simple block. Yep. Well, game over, but quite amusing, I would say. Quite interesting development of events. The vampire deck is quite powerful. I think that we helped our opponent thanks to his favorite visions. So now we're going to receive the hit from Oblivious Bloodthorn that can also give haste to any other vampire. So even if we could afford to block anything, the opponent might throw up many more vampires, such as this one. So a bit unfortunate to have our expensive creatures on hand. Some little value out of the telling times. I think I misplayed there. So let's see if the opponent has something else to do. Well, apparently nothing too spectacular going on. So the Stentia Masquerade kind of defeated us. This very powerful enchantment. And let's move on. No regrets. Now we are still learning how to do this. The deck is I think that the idea is nice, but it's a bit difficult to make the proper choices in the deck I'm using. Because of course the steel effects are expensive, and therefore you have to decide whether you want to play an expensive steel effect or something more permanent. The Will Breaker is nice and all, but is too slow for our purpose. Perhaps we can give away two Will Breakers. Maybe it's a bit much. I mean, what good is for us to have two Will Breakers? Is that important? I think we can find something better. But let's see. Very cool combo, Will Breaker and the Elder Fiend, or whatever it's called, because we tap 4 permanents, we can steal 4 creatures. Very interesting that you can tap permanents. That's can make that can cause mayhem if you start tapping something unexpected for the opponent. We might do another emerge deck that is a proper emerge deck that takes good care of that effect. Let's see, join in session please. Come on. And come on, find us another opponent please. Please, we want to get something. So I could imagine that at this time of the year many players are trying to gather a lot of coins because there's an incoming expansion announced for the next week. Kaladesh is going to be appearing soon, so it's going to be coming with a new adventure, so lots of new cards and new mechanics, maybe too many new things. We're going to have a new type of counter to add to the players. Those are the energy counters. Some cards produce energy counters and some cards use the energy counters. So it's another resource that you can handle. So quite a new dimension is going to be added into the game. I think that given the current complexity of the game, I think it's too much. But there are many other previous different counters that were used before, such as the infect counters, energy counters, and so on and so on. So it would be very funny to give the proliferate mechanic that appeared in some cards a couple of expansions ago. Let's see. Lots of nice 3-drops. We can perhaps, if the opponent is not too aggressive, this is a good hand. Turn 2 telling time into turn 3 any of these. But apparently the opponent wants to be aggressive. So the Skyline Cascade is going to be helping us gaining some time, and we also have the Frost Links. So hopefully the opponent is going to load this one with enchantments. But this appears to be a black-white ally deck with lots of life gain. Humans. Alright. Now, do we want to Skyline Haze here? Save us from 2, and then Frostlinks save us from 2 more. I think we do not get the telling time, but the Frostlinks is a nice blocker for these 2. We later can drop the Obligator with haste, or the Hunger Garrison too. So maybe this is a humans deck. So this one is not ally, but this is human scout ally. Bygone Bishop, good, always good. Now I'm going to stop the expedition envoy. A good thing that could happen for us is that if we steal the Hunger Militia Captain and if he transforms, I think this is forever under our control. I'm not sure about that, but it should be the case. Death Weight, killing the Frostlings. So we are going to get a 4 mana, 4 damage hit. Mm. Fevered Visions, not going to play that yet. So here, I'm thinking that if I play the Obligator, I can get in for 3. The Hunger Garrison can stop these 2 attackers, but also drives the following the next removal card the opponent runs is going to hit the Hunger Garrison. I think that's not so bad. Next turn we can play the Willbreaker. Maybe. Depending on what gig we get. Let's see. This is about to flip. This looks like a trap, so I'm going to skip blocking here. Now, maybe Jace and Fevered Visions, or telling time and Eldrazi Obligator. So using Jace to block is not optimal, but I don't think that if we get a full attack, we're going to die. If the opponent has some enchantment into the bishop, we die anyways. I think we are going to present more blockers. I think this is the safest line of play here, but not going to gain us the game. Let's go with this attack. Alright, well, as expected, this one ate the removal from the opponent. Let's see what he tries next. The Dauntless Cathar. So we survived this turn. I don't think the opponent is going to attack, because this one requires 4 or more creatures. But of course this one has flying, and we can't do anything about that. Lovely act of treason, but a little bit slow. Can we somehow survive here? Is there something that we can do? So, if we steal some guy, the opponent is not going to block. So let's get us this one. Let's go into attack here. Let's see what happens. Alright, now we are going to draw and discard something. What should we discard? I think the telling time is gone. And now this is about to transform, so we are going to reduce the damage of this one here. Play the Sword of Falls and Fevered Visions, why not? So this returns to the opponent, this one transforms, opponent can't do an attack, maybe he wants to target Jace. This might be held in defense mode. We still can get hit by 4. The opponent can have any number of removal spells, and that means we die. He could eventually flip the Westpale Abbey, and always watching is horrible. So now we lose all our creatures. Here, let's see. No, we can kill this. Yes, we can. So there, there, and there. So our Jace is alive. So let's Will Breaker first. We are going to get this flyer. Nice. And we are going to get this one. So as long as the opponent doesn't touch the Will Breaker, we are safe, but it's not that likely. Let's see what he wants to do now. Sorin can kill the Will Breaker, and then we lose. Yep. So down the pain. So this one can kill us despite our best efforts. So that's it. Very interesting match. I think it was kind of balanced. Let's leave the. I wonder if I could play better this deck. Let's try just a final time. Am I doing something wrong, or is the deck quite bad, or is just a case of bad luck here? So I think the reason that we are having troubles is that the Will Breaker is not that good in the deck as I first suspected, and maybe we have to leave that way. So we are having issues with our lands. We're going to have to go to 5, and that is going to be horrible. No, the luck has abandoned us. Well, unless we have godly draws from the deck, this is a loss. And yeah, let's just see what happens with a few more draws. The only thing that could save us is the Fevered Visions, but we cannot afford to play that yet. I think this deck is quite similar to the one before. So no reason to crack this one yet. So we have a red. So the opponent is free to play whatever he wants, and we are pretty tight on mana. Let's get ourselves an island. So there's not much that we can draw that can change the current situation. We're going to be taking 4 next turn. No, much more than 4. 5. We drop into 11. The Duels surprise attack, but it's not going to be helping us this turn. So let's go with the Duelist first. Now chances are for the opponent to have a removal spell for our Duelist, so no point into holding back, because either way, if we block, we are going to block later. Yes, indeed, he had the removal. And the always watching, always watching. So now this is a certain death. 8. Nothing to play. And that's it. Well, we can kill this guy, but not going to save us. Confirm attack. And yes, you have to block us, even if you don't want. But still, this guy kills the Duels. So, poink, this dice. Now, mulligan to 4. Well, if you have a deck that can survive going to 4, I think your deck is quite special. Um, I can imagine some decks maybe being able to survive by going to 4, but probably you're playing with a bunch of 1 and 2 drops in the wall deck and many throwing spells. So our rank is plummeting here out of a series of unfortunate events. Now let's keep this. Now we have the duo to meld soon, but soon if we can pay the 5 mana. By doing this you also lose a colorless mana source, so you have to be quite positive that melding this guy is what you want to do. Another mountain. Let's drop this. We can wait to play this with haste, but that to give haste you have to save this and 1 red, so you have to pay 2 to give haste to one of the creatures. Now black and white again. So I think that thing in the eyes is a bit better in this case. If the opponent wants to spend spells to remove this, I don't mind. If we flip the thing in the eyes, it's really good. Pious Angel costs 3, so we have to count. This would make our emerged creatures able to be played by 4. So far I think let's play the garrison to scare the opponent. Let's see if he has the answer to the garrison. Mortuary Mire. Mortuary Mire is not going to help us. Why the opponent has that? This deck the opponent is running could be using the sisters, the angelic sisters. The opponent chose to spend his Unwished Unmaking into the garrison commander, and I think that is a wise choice from the opponent point of view. So let's sacrifice this. We're going to get a second island, so now we are in the Deep Fin territory. Now let's wait with the Act of Treasons. Well, we have 2 of them. Yeah. If the opponent plays something bigger, the Act of Treason for 3 is going to leave us 2 mana to get something out. So for 2, the opponent should be dropping a 5. The opponent has to play a 5 drop, a 4 drop. If we draw into a land, it's good. And indeed it was. So now what is better for us? Maybe if we steal this. No, this is 3. That means this is 4. So we have to steal this Cliffhaven Vampire. And it kind of makes more sense to get this one. Now the computer tapped very wrongly the mana here, but lucky for us, we are not going to play the Deep Fiend yet because this one has flash. Can be used to tap enemy creatures. So we are going to succeed. Actually, I think this is the first time that we succeed into using these cards. Now we have another Act of Treason ready. We have a huge creature in play, and we killed an opposing creature all together. That is very powerful, but of course also very expensive. We used 6 mana to do that. 2 cards. Now this is going to actually be very helpful. Let's see if the opponent has so lots of life gain and exiling I think we're going to be seeing Avacyn or something like that soon. The opponent knows that we have one act of treason with us. So, so let's steal. No, do not. Well, this time we have triple blue, so no reason at all to get this. So we steal the Evangel. We proceed to attack. Let's see if the opponent has something to kill his own creature with this. Now, also, since the opponent knew that we have the active prison, we did it like that, and now we are going to kill this guy. We're going to tap. Yeah, that's it. Finish. We tap his lands just for no reason at all. Now the key was to get rid of the Pious Angel. Now let's see what the opponent. Now the opponent does not know what is our last card. Visions of Brutality. Now the Deep Fiend is unable to block, and we receive as much damage as we do with the Deep Fiend. But since we are above in terms of life, I think we can afford to hit the opponent. Let's see what we find. Since we have plenty of red, let's tap the red. And we have the Wretched Grief, so another combo is ready here. So let's hope the opponent plays something really big, so we can steal pay a little mana with the Wretched Grief. Alright. Otherwise, in 2 more hits we kill the opponent, so he has to block somehow this guy. He could attach another one of these to the same creature. That will be very painful. Hands of Bane. We drop to 11, he goes to 13. So now he is going to win if we keep attacking. So I think it's about time that we do the Eldrazi Obligator. Alright, we gain control of the thing in the eyes. Wow. Don't pay. Now we are getting closer into flipping the thing in the eyes. That is very cool. We also can play the Grief and give them haste with the battlements, but no point into doing that at this moment, because even if we do so, we are not going to win. Mortuary Mire can bring back perhaps the Cliffhaven Vampire, but it's going to be in top of the library. Also the Pious Angel, Cliffhaven Vampire, so maybe the opponent has some combo to win tons of life. Oh yeah! Yes please! Yes please! So, thank you very much. Nice Caliphas we have here. Now, I'm not going to attack with the Fiend, because if the opponent blocks, then we get 5 damage to ourselves. So now we attack with Caliphas. Now we gain 4. Now we are ahead on the race. And goodbye Caliphas. Thanks for your help. and we all even draw something, and it was a mountain. We can repeat, but I still going to hold back because we have the advantage here. If we draw into some instant or sorcery, we can return all creatures to the owner's hand. Therefore, we get rid of this enchantment. Shoot. Very tempting to do this one, but toughness 2 or less. Therefore, not yet. We can play the Griffith for his mana cost instead of emerging. We give him haste, and then if we attack, the opponent is going to have to block. We also draw something out of that. I think we're going to do exactly that. Let's see, another Great Cliff, that is perfect, but it's going to be waiting. Now if we attack with all our creatures, that's 11 damage, so the opponent is going to be forced to block. If he blocks this, we kill his Cliffhaven Vampire, otherwise he takes 8, we take 5. Very close. We can still, if he plays a small creature with 2 or less toughness. Well, sorry for the English, guys. Oh, Kithion, thank you, Kithion, for showing up. Angelic Destiny. Now, forget what I just said. But the opponent is at 2, and we have 3 attackers. And he sees that he's about to lose, and therefore hits us for 2. And he has one colorless open, but thank you very much, Kithion, for coming to our side. And well, never mind. There we go. Oh, we lost everything. But still, the opponent was dead on board, and that was a funny way to end the game. So this time the deck worked despite everything. So I think there is potential hidden there, but I think I want to try other combinations of the emerge plus the steel. So I think if I continue to play this one, I think I would try to leave just one of the wheel breaker. Let's see. Having just one of these should prove good enough, and we can. There are a number of options to add here, perhaps going for more aggressive creatures with haste, such as the Voldaren Duelist, or maybe more enthralling picture too. There's also more cards to make the Act of Treason work, such as the, let's see, we have this Traitorous Instinct that also gives +2/+0 to the stolen creature, but it costs 1 more mana. We have Press into Service. The support is going to give +1/+1 counters to up to 2 target creatures, and we steal something, so many possibilities to use instead of the Will Breaker. And considering that the interesting side of the deck is to steal and emerge, I think the Will Breaker is not so important to have 2 copies. Now, other things that we might be using is some of the burn spells from red. Also, what else can be used? There are some interesting enchantments to be using. Perhaps a very cool one could be Vessel of Volatility, because you can get to your mana quite fast with that. Also, Retreat to Valakut. That if you make creatures unable to block, you can get in with the haste creatures. And also Flame Shadow Conjuring. I think this one I like very much if you are playing huge cards such as these guys. It's quite interesting, but 4 mana and then you have to pay 1 red to copy your creatures might be prohibitive in many cases. So there, in terms of creatures, I mean, also from artifacts, there's also some interesting additions that you can consider. Brain in a Jar is pretty amusing if you get to activate Brain in a Jar during the opponent's turn to use with the Act of Treason, but that is quite difficult to pull out, but might work. What else? Of course, Alchemist Vial. This card has, I think, is very nice card that can fit. You can use this in almost any deck that you like. Perhaps we should foil that one. Now, what else? Well, this is a nice target for the emerge cards, but you can for the emerge cards, the Juggernaut is very interesting. 4 mana and a 5 power creature. This one is forced to attack, but it's 4 mana that you get to discount from the emerge creatures. Also, the Guardian Automaton gives you 3 life out of his dying effects. And also in blue creature, we have a lot of interesting creatures that you can gain a lot of by sacrificing them, such as perhaps the Enlightened Maniac is a for 4 mana you get a 0-2 with a 3-2 token accompanying it. So very cool to emerge out of this one. Also, what else? The Separatist Void Mage, another 4-cost creature that is a 2-2 that brings back a creature to the owner's hand when he enters the battlefield, and so on and so on. Now maybe more Wheeler Rogue, maybe there are many cool creatures that can be played in place of the Wheelbreaker. Reckless Scholar, Fogwalker, also kind of interesting to reduce the mana curve, and you get to tap an opposing creature. And I think this is the first candidate that I would like to have instead of the Wheelbreaker. But, well, we are leaving one just in case. Alright, but this is the final version of the deck. I think next time I'm going to try the same idea with another combination with red and something else that can be green or black, but for the time being I'm going to say goodbye. It's time to start saving coins for the coming event of Kaladesh. Now look at this, boosters on sale. So maybe instead of saving coins, if you want to complete the collection, is the time to do so. But, well, I already have all of them complete, so I'm going to be saving for the next incoming batch. Also, interesting and peculiar addition is that we're going to be seeing the opportunity to choose different backs for the cards. That means that we can use a selection of images to show up instead of the default magic one. And what else? There was something else that you can customize. There was a visual aspect. Let me recall. What was it? Oh, my memory. So, what was it? I mean, yes, the lands. Of course, we are going to have access to another land illustrations. The full art lands are called. Those are lands that occupy the whole area of the cards instead of this. So okay, full art basic lands that are not currently in the collection. Come on, let's go to the end. Now, I would like for them to help us browse faster these kind of things. There we are nearly there. Here we go. No, still we do not get to see the basic lands. Where are they? Well, not here apparently, but just as an example, take a look at this one. So half of the surface is a nice picture and the other half is text explaining what this card does. So the full art lands, they have all the surface covered by this image instead of text, and they are pretty and they are very valuable also for collectionists. So we are going to be seeing a nice tweak in the interface. So until next time, I'm going to be saying goodbye, and don't forget to leave your comments. Until then.